So iOS 15.4 will soon be released to the general public here. Within the next 2 to 3 days, Apple will be releasing iOS 15.4. Now, every time Apple releases a new software updates, I've noticed on my YouTube videos that I typically get some of the same questions. So in this video, before the release of iOS 15.4, I wanted to share with you guys a few things you should know before you update to iOS 15.4. Now, as always, if you would like to stay up to date with the latest iOS news and Apple software updates, don't forget to subscribe and make sure you turn on those notifications so that you don't miss another episode. Now, iOS 15.4 adds a ton of new features and improvements to the iPhone, and there's additional new changes within the software. And the first thing I want to talk about is iPhone storage. Every time there's a new software update, it seems like most of you guys ask, what will happen to my storage? Will this new software update actually take more storage from my iPhone? And iOS 15.4, as of right now, is a slightly larger software update, and that is due to some of the biggest changes and new features coming to the iPhone. Now, I've noticed when I updated my iPhone from iOS 15.3 to 15.4, yes, this new software will be taking up about 100 to 300 more megabytes from your iPhone than previous software like iOS 15.3, and that is due to some of the latest new features, and it always going to depend on the device that you have and the software that you're updating from. Now, keep in mind, some devices do get additional features that others do not get. For example, iPhone 13 will get additional new features like the face mask unlock and things like that other devices won't get. So it will fluctuate. The software is slightly larger on some devices than it is in others, but you will be losing about 100 to 300 megabytes from your iPhone storage. And yes, that's going to be a real thing when you update to iOS 15.4, and I thought I'll let you guys know about that. Now, one of the biggest changes happening to shortcuts and automations here with iOS 15.4 is that automations will no longer send you notifications. So if you have an automation and the automation runs, if you remember with iOS 15.3 or below, you would get a notification every time an automation would run. Well, you now have the option to turn off those notifications. However, if you do not go back into the shortcuts application and toggle this on and off, for whatever reason, some automations will still deliver notifications when they run. So that's something that I wanted to note. I think it's a bug within the software, but once you update to iOS 15.4, you will no longer have those notifications for automations, and you can toggle that on or off just to kind of get it to work properly on the latest OS. Now, another very popular question is iPhone storage in regards to system data or other system data. If we go to general here and we go to iPhone storage and we scroll all the way to the bottom here, we have other system data. Now, this has nothing to do with a software update or the software that you're running. This value here fluctuates depending on the system's needs. For example, if you're browsing through Safari, that creates web history. That impacts the value of other system data. It has nothing to do with the software that you're downloading. It doesn't fluctuate because of that. For example, also if you get a text message, for example, and these text messages contain photos and videos, this system value will fluctuate because it depends on the system's needs. If you want this number to go down, what you have to do is just go ahead and remove system history from browsers, things like that. You also want to make sure you go into your messages, your message threads, and remove any message thread, and that will impact this number. It does have nothing to do with the latest software update. Now, under iPhone storage, there's another thing I do want to mention. For those of you that don't typically update your iPhone to every software update that Apple releases, if you have a software that's lingering within your iPhone storage that's taking up storage, you want to go into settings here, and then you want to go into general and then iPhone storage here. And as you can see, this iPhone 8 here, I downloaded iOS 15.3.1 where it's still downloading, as you can see right here. But this software is not installed on this iPhone. It's just waiting for me to install it. However, if I install iOS 15.4 without installing 15.3.1, this particular software will linger here. What you have to do is remove it right there, click delete, and this will remove any downloads from the software, and therefore you'll gain more storage on your iPhone. It's just a quick tip that I wanted to share with you guys in case you don't typically update to the latest OS and you're updating to 15.4. Just make sure you check out your iPhone storage right there just to make sure there isn't additional software taking up storage there that isn't installed onto your iPhone. Now, one of the most popular questions that I get every time there's a new software update, how's the battery and will this impact the battery health of my iPhone? And this question has come about because oftentimes, when you update your iPhone and you go to iPhone's battery health right here, you see the maximum capacity right now is at 100. If you update to 15.4 from a previous OS and you see this number change, it doesn't mean that the software had a negative impact on the battery health of your iPhone. However, what happens here is every time Apple releases a new software update, the iPhone goes through a few checklists, right? And one of those checklists is the iPhone's battery and the maximum capacity of that battery. So if iOS 15.3, for example, is telling you that your iPhone's battery is at 95 maximum capacity, in reality, until you get that new software update installed, the software hasn't rechecked for that battery capacity and battery health, which happens often when you update the software. So once the software updates, then it goes through that checklist and does another check on the battery. And when you install the new software, you may see this number fluctuate. As I mentioned, just for an example, let's say it's at 96 on iOS 15.3 and you update to 15.4 and this number goes down to like 94. That doesn't mean that the software has a negative impact on your battery, as I mentioned. However, what it means is that this software has done a check through that battery once again and now is giving you the proper number since it did go through that checklist of battery health on your device. So hopefully this answers most of the questions I typically get when there's a new software update lingering. iOS 15.4 is a major software update coming to the iPhone here, especially to Face ID devices with the new mask unlock features. There's new emojis, just a ton of new features happening with the software. Let me know if you'll be updating to iOS 15.4. If you have any additional questions, leave those in the comments down below. So hopefully this answered the question. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Let me know if you'll be updating here in the next couple of days. Of course, I'll update you guys once the software is released. Thank you for watching today's video, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Peace.